G'day guys and welcome back to another video on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be going through my round 11 tips for the year, which I'm keen to get into, as well as sort of doing a little bit of a recap to see what tips I got incorrect last week. Last week I had a pretty accurate round of tipping and I'm pretty pumped and stoked for myself as I got 7 out of 9 tips correct. The only tips I got incorrect were the Adelaide and Dogs game. I actually backed in the Crows to get it done at Mars, and then also backed in the Tigers to get it done on the Dream Time at the G on the Saturday night, which was looking good, looking very good until midway through the last term, and the Bombers came back. Great comeback from the Dons, really do deserve to win. I guess they do deserve to win after that comeback in the last, but the Tigers were up all night, which a little bit stiff. They didn't win it, however, a 1-point margin in that game, but I don't know what I was thinking with the Crows. I thought, you know, they have a pretty decent record at Mars Stadium, so I thought maybe they're going to get up. They've gotten up there against the Dogs in the past, so I'm going to back him in, see what they can do. However, the Crows performed like we haven't seen this year yet. They were very, very average and very awful on the weekend against the Dogs, which is sort of a good sign for the Bulldogs because they haven't proved too much yet this year, but that's a really, really good stomping point just to show the teams in the league that they are on and they are here this year just to show up, because they've been versing the easy opponents, they've been getting the wins that they need, and the Dogs all of a sudden are now, 5th or 6th on the table now. I'm pretty sure 6 after the Saints got the dub against GWS on the Sunday. However, yeah, the Dogs are looking very good in season 2023, and they're a genuine contender as well. Anyway, we're going to get straight into the round 11 tips for the year, starting off with the Friday night clash between the Swans and the Blues. SCG, Friday night footy. Very, very interesting prediction. The Blues have the odds to get this one done, $1.85 in order for the Blues to get it done, and $2 to the Swans to get this one done. The last time these two sides played was actually in a practice match, and well, the Swans got up by 43 points, but it's a practice match. You can't really judge much off that. Very interesting at the moment. The Blues had a pretty good surge a few weeks back, and they have done nothing since. I think they've lost 3 or 4 in a row now, the Blues, and look, they need to get a win on the board, and the Swans are coming off that 3-point controversial win against the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium after the Kangas had one too many substitutes on the bench, resulting in a free kick and a 50-metre penalty, and then further on resulting to a Swans win by 3 points. They probably didn't deserve to win that one, but the rules are the rules, and in the rule book, well, it's a free kick and 50 metres to the Swans, so that is really poor on the North Melbourne, substitute manager, and just, the managers in general. That's a really poor on their behalf. However, look, at the SCG, it's really hard because it's the Swans' home deck, but you can't really bring much into the Swans having a home game or an away game, because they lost against the Dockers there a few weeks back and they did not look very good at home. I'm actually going to be backing in Carlton to get this one done. They need to win a game, and if they got to win a game, it's got to be this week. They got a very good chance, very good roll of the dice to get it done this week, as they're versing an out-of-form Sydney side who only just got over the line against North Melbourne by 3 points, and they had to do it in a pretty, not a usual way at all to get 4 points on the board. I'm going to back in the Blues to get it done by 13 points on the Friday night against the Swans. However, this one's really a 50-50 matchup. I genuinely had to spend at least 5 to 10 minutes literally just thinking about who's going to win this game, because it's such a close game. I can't define the two sides. They are both as shit as each other. They're both sitting in, I think, 11th or 12th. They're right next to each other on the ladder as well. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup on the Friday night, but hopefully the Blues can get up for my tip, but would not be surprised if the Swans did end up getting the 4 points in this game. Moving on to the Saturday games now, we've got the Saints and the Hawks at Marvel Stadium, 1:45 p.m. clash. Obviously going to be backing in the Saints to get this one done. However, the Saints actually have been pretty rusty as of late, and while the Hawks are coming off a very confident 116-point win, you don't see very often the team bottom on the ladder scoring 142 points and also winning a game by 116 points when you're last on the ladder, 17th v 18th. I said last week in the tips, I was like, if West Coast are to win any game this year, this is the game that they have to show up in. And they scored a total of 26 points. They didn't score a goal in the second half of footy. In fact, their last goal of the game was halfway through the second quarter. Scored a total of 26, a quarter-time scoreline, and got thumped by the team bottom of the ladder by 116 points. So, look, West Coast, they're just in the mud, aren't they? Really don't have much words for the Eagles. However, the Saints have been looking a little bit rusty as of late, and they've got to get their season back on track. I'm going to back in the Saints to get this one done. Going to say, look, I'm really not confident in the Saints. I'm going to say 21 points. I genuinely feel like that's like the highest they can go because they've been playing some really sloppy footy as of late, and they're coming off that win against the Giants, which wasn't very, very convincing at all. However, they got the 4 points on the board, and that's really all that they needed, really, as of now, because they just needed to break that like really bad momentum and really bad losing streak. So they've broken the losing streak. Now they're facing the team that is 16th on the ladder, coming off a huge win, the Hawks, though. So I don't think they're going to pull off an upset against the Saints, because I think the Saints are a little bit too good for the Hawks at Marvel Stadium, at their home deck, both the teams' home ground. However, the Saints, come on, they've got to get their season back on track, and I reckon they'll be winning this one by 21 points. Melbourne v Freo at the G. Wow, I'm so keen for this one. 2:10 p.m. bounce. I will be here at this game, supporting on the Dockers, the first Dockers game I'm going to this year. So obviously the game day vlog will be out, and God, am I keen for this matchup. The Dockers obviously don't have the odds to win it. However, holy shit, are we on a roll at the moment? We obviously broke the D's 1-year winning streak last year at the MCG, when no one predicted us to get it done. I'm pretty sure the odds were like 97% of tippers tipping the D's last year to only 3% tipping us, or something along those margins. It was such a big upset. We ended up beating them by, was it 42 or something? So we beat them by bloody 7 goals. The team who haven't lost in a year, coming off the back of, well, the grand final the year prior. So look, that was a very good statement to make last year. However, now it's this year. We're coming off 3 wins in a row. Hawthorn at home, we absolutely thumped them by 69. Then we beat Sydney in Sydney, and we're coming off a win against the reigning premiers in Geelong. So we have now beaten Geelong in the last 2 encounters. However, we do play them at GMHBA later on in the year, but our boys will be coming in with so much confidence to that game. However, we won't worry about that yet, because that's still in the future. However, I'm keen for that. I'll definitely be heading down to GMHBA for that clash. However, I will be heading down for the Melbourne game as well. Look, I reckon the Dockers are going to put up a really good fight. I'm going to back in the D's to get this one done. I'm going against my own team here. I'm going to back in the D's, but here's my reasoning behind it. The D's are most likely going to win at home, right? So I'm going to back in the D's for my footy tips. However, obviously, if Freo win, then that's a win for me. Don't get my tip right, but Freo win. That's a huge dub. And if Freo lose, then I still get my tip right. So it's just really win-win either way. So I'm going to back in the D's to get it done. I'll just say, I don't know, 15 points, just a random margin, chuck it out there. But it's going to be a good game. We're going to compete really well as well. We're going to be coming in with a lot of confidence, as we did beat them at the G last year. So I'm really keen to see what we can whip up on the Saturday after. 4:35 p.m. bounce. It is the Cats and the Giants. And the Giants $5.80 to win this one, compared to the Cats $1.14. Geelong coming off, well, just a shit game in general. They're coming off 2 losses actually, against the Tigers at the G and now against Freo at Optus. They did not look good on the Saturday against the Dockers. However, they're back at home versing an out of form Giants lineup. They should be getting this one done. I'm going to back them in to get this one done. I'll say 40 points. Hopefully they can get up and get their season back on track, the Cats, because they're not looking good as of late. They're on the same points as Adelaide, Freo, and another team, maybe the Saints, or maybe not, but I think another team, maybe Essendon or something. They're on the same amount of points as 3 other teams in the comp. So yeah, they're coming up against an out-of-form Giants side who put up a decent fight, decent effort against the Saints. However, the Giants just aren't there as a whole yet. I just don't think they'll be competing in this match. Sorry if I do start to tear up and stuff. I just have really bad, like, it's not hay fever. I'm coming off the back of COVID just a couple of days ago, and I've got these lights shining in my face, got no water, and I'm just speaking, so my throat's getting a bit dry, so just ignore me and, settle with me. Saturday night footy at TIO Stadium. It is the Suns and the Dogs, 7:25 p.m. bounce. This one's going to be interesting. TIO Stadium in the Northern Territory. Do the Suns play a good brand of footy there? I feel like they're like one of the only teams who play up at TIO. I think the Suns and maybe the D's always play a home game there every year. I did say last week, if the Dogs get up, I'm backing them in, because I've been so bad on tipping the Dogs this year. Every win they've got, I've tipped against them. So I'm backing in the Dogs to get this one done. I'll say 19 points. I reckon that's a pretty good margin against the Suns. The Suns will put up a fight. Channel 7 footy as well. Yeah, I said last week, if the Dogs were to get up, which they did, I'd stop tipping against them. So obviously they did get up against the Crows last week at Mars, so I'm going to be backing them in to get this one done, and they're looking at a pretty impressive side as well, the Dogs, so it'd be rude not to back them in. 7:30 p.m. at Optus Stadium. It is the Eagles and the Bombers. Well, the Bombers get this one done by 104 points. It's going to be an absolute smacking. If the Eagles can somehow get it... No, what am I even saying? The Eagles aren't getting up. The Bombers are going to win this by over 10 goals. It's just really a matter of fact the margin. They're going to win it. It's just a matter of fact the margin. So, yeah, Dons by 104. Really not much else to say. There's no explanation behind it, apart from their versing West Coast. Moving on to the Sunday matchups now. It is Richmond versus Port Adelaide. Now, I was really debating 50-50 earlier this morning, similar to the Friday night matchup in Sydney and Carlton, as just wasn't sure who to tip, and both sides are very similar at the moment, as Port Adelaide, well, are definitely a better side at the moment, but I'm just thinking at the G, Port don't play too well there. They've got the odds to win it, and they're just in such good form at the moment, Power. However, recently announced just like an hour ago, Damien Hardwick is stepping down as coach. He's quitting. Meaning that the Richmond Tigers are going to have no idea what they're doing. They're going to have the new coach, and we all know when a team has a new coach, like when their main coach steps down, when they have a new coach coming in, they're pretty shit for a few weeks. They need to get comfortable within the coach and what he's setting them to do and stuff. So I feel like Port Adelaide get up in this game. I'm going to say 24 points, 4-goal win for the Power at the G. So it's going to be interesting, but I feel like Damien Hardwick stepping down is really going to implant my tip in Port Adelaide. I wasn't 100% sure about it. Going 50-50. Went with Port Adelaide, but now that I know that Damien Hardwick's stepping down, it's going to be a rough week for the Tigers, and I reckon they're going to get, well, just outclassed on the G. 3:20 p.m. bounce between the Pies and the Kangaroos at Marvel Stadium. Now, the Kangas coming off a brilliant effort against the Swans, but it's just not going to do it for the Pies. I cannot stress enough how good Collingwood are as a side. They are going all the way in season 2023. They are just so clearly the best side in the league. They're not losing a game. They're one game clear on top of the ladder. They haven't versed North, West Coast, Hawthorn yet. Obviously, they're coming up against the Kangaroos this week, but this is like their first easy opponent of the year, and they're one game clear on top of the ladder. So obviously, I'm going to be backing in the Pies to get this one done at Marvel Stadium. Obviously, North played there last week. Put up a decent fight against the Swans, but the Pies are just going to give them a reality check. I'll say 57 points, Pies win. I don't think it'll be that big of a margin, but the Pies are definitely going to win nonetheless. And last game of the round, it is the Crows and the Lions at Adelaide Oval. These teams always decide to put on a pretty good matchup. Going to be backing in Brisbane after last week's poor result for the Crows. They're back at home this week, which can certainly result in a win. However, the Lions have been pretty good this year. Curious to see if they can actually get this one done away from home. Back in Brizzy to get this one done by 8 points. I feel like they should get it done, and the Crows are back at home. So really last week, just a bit of a hiccup for the Crows, and they should be back at least playing a decent brand of footy at their home deck this Sunday. So those are my round 11 tips for the year. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Sorry if my eyes start to water, my throat's really dry. I just had COVID, so filming videos is not easy, that's for sure. I'm starting to tear up. I'm just not in the best mood. When I'm just spitting, talking into a mic for 20 minutes, yeah, my throat starts to get a bit dry. My eyes start to water, so it's not good signs. However, I'll see you all in the next video. Cheers for watching.